Hi everyone, so for today's project I'm going to be making a one sheet wonder using the Pretty Perennials stamp set. Now this stamp set was designed by one of Stampin' Up's $1 million seller achievers, Dina Rico. I've done one sheet wonders before, they're great. She actually did a one sheet wonder and it looked really lovely, so I thought I would share it. So basically I'm using quite a lot of the stamps that are from the stamp set, and I've got them all preloaded onto block. The colour palette that I'm going to use is Balmy Blue, Melon Mambo, So Saffron, Pear Pizzazz, Bermuda Bay and Pretty Peacock. So I'm just going to get stamping. I'm going to start with the biggest stamp. This is the Balmy Blue and the solid stamp, and I'm literally just going to stamp across the middle randomly and turning the stamp as I go across this piece of basic white A4 cardstock. I'm going to bring in the Melon Mambo and the next flower down in size. I've got another one of the flowers, which I'm going to use in Bermuda Bay, but I've not got a big ink pad, so I'm using one of the ink spots. And I'm just going to fill out the white space. I've got So Saffron, and I'm going to use these kind of like berry design here. This is very much like Dina did, but in different colours. So I'm just going to fill in the spaces, and there's no right or wrong way to do a one sheet wonder. Just, you know, do it as you want to do it. Don't worry if you overstamp, you know, any other of your images. Just fill in the blanks, basically. That's what you're going to do. Go off the page. I'm going to bring in the Pretty Peacock. And stamp. I'm going to bring in Rococo Rose and see what this looks like with these little dots. I might put these in the middle of the Melon Mambo. Then I'm going to bring in Pear Pizzazz, and I've got the two sizes of leaves. And I'm just going to start filling in the spaces. Then I've got the detailed side, so there's a solid side and a more detailed side. And I'm just going to go over the leaves with the detailed stamp. So that's why I'm not particularly bothered whether, you know, I get a perfect stamping when I put the solid shape down. I'm going to use the same pear pizzazz, but this time with the smaller leaf, and I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to stamp up the little leaf, ink up the little leaf I should say, and put these in, and then do the same with the detail. So I am literally just filling in the spaces. I've got the detail stamp on the other side. So this is a solid stamp and this is the detail stamp. And I'm just going to go over those leaves I've just put down. So also within the set there's this tiny little set of dots, which I think are meant to be the middle of a flower. But I'm just going to clean off one of these blocks and bring this tiny little one in, and I'm going to use the green again and just fill in the spaces. And these are going to look different every time you make them, because you're never going to stamp them identical 2 times on the run, and you can change them up with the colours that you're using. And what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to have to stamp a couple of these sheets. I'm going to see how many cards I can get out of a sheet, but these are going to be customer thank you cards for anybody that shops with me in the month of February, and I know I've got quite a few to make already at the time I'm doing this. So I'm going to make a couple of sheets, cut them all up, and then see how many thank you cards I can get from them. Okay, so I'll just show you the colour palette I've used so far. So we've got Pretty Peacock, Balmy Blue, Melon Mambo, So Saffron, Pear Pizzazz, Rococo Rose and Bermuda Bay. That's the colour palette. Okay, so this is how it's looking now. So the cards that I'm going to be using to make these thank you cards are the basic white note cards and envelopes that come in a pack of 20. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to cut this down to 8 inches first of all. I'm just going to take a little bit off one side just to try and leave a little bit of white space on the top and bottom, and then I'm going to trim it down to 8 inches. Now I'm going to chop it directly in half at 4 inches. So I've got 2 pieces now that look like this, and I've got some white space where I can put my stamp in. So I've actually decided to cut them into 3-inch strips. So these pieces are going to be 3 inches by 4 inch high. And this last piece isn't obviously going to be 3 inches, it's 2 3/4. I could still use that, or I could keep that for another project. I'm going to get at least 6 from this one piece of A4 card. So now I'm going to bring in a piece of basic grey, and this is for, let's just double check, 4 1/8. So this is a piece of A4 just chopped straight down the middle, and I'm going to layer these on. So I'm going to cut these at, let's do 3 1/4. You can always trim it down if I don't like the look of it. You see it's going to have a slightly bigger border. So let's take it down to 3 3/16. Yeah, I think that's better. So it's actually 3 3/16 by 4 1/8. So let's try that. So I've got my happy mail loaded up on my block, and I'm using smoky slate, although the matting layer is basic grey, but I'm going to use smoky slate, and this will just fit on the bottom of this piece now. So I'm just going to flip it over, get one of these layers. So I've got some of the basic grey showing behind, which picks up with the smoky slate. Then I'm just going to bring in one of our note cards, and sometimes you do have to, you know, refold these, because sometimes they don't always fold exactly where they should, although they are pre-creased. And then that, I think I'm just going to pop on the front of the card, and that's just going to be, you know, a simple thank you card that I'm going to pop in my thank you packages in March for anybody that shops with me in February. And I'll pop in an envelope as well to go with them. And obviously you could decorate the envelope as well if you want to. You know, you could decorate the flap or stamp one of the flowers on the front of the envelope to make it a little matching project. So I'm just going to pop these flat on the front. I'm not going to pop them up or anything, but I might add a little bit of bling. So let's just see. Pop that on there. Bring in my take your pick tool. And if you don't know how to use these with the putty end, you wind it tight until the putty starts to come out, and then you loosen it off. And then you can just pick up and you can put your, you know, bits of bling in the middle or wherever you want them to go. So that's how it's looking. That's going to be my little thank you card for anybody that shops with me in February through my Stampin' Up shop. I'll finish the rest off and then I'll come back and I'll show you them all at the end. So that's today's project, all made with the Pretty Perennials stamp set and our white, Whisper White or basic white note cards and envelopes, and just a little bit of basic grey as a matting layer for the stamped one sheet wonder. So I hope you enjoyed the project. Please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.